Ah, a couple extra cameras. Great. I'm really excited.
Good to see you guys. I'm seeing some known names here as well, even though it's my first webinar. I'm seeing some names that I already know. So nice to see you again for those who I already talked to.
Oh, nice. So we are going to have a real experience when you share about the technical interview. They're going to be able to say, yes, I know that's exactly what happened. Nice. I'm going to share my screen. We have like 39 right now. We waited a few minutes and I want to share. Let me just put your faces here. I want to start by thanking you all for being here. We know that looking for a job abroad is not the easiest job, and it is a full-time job itself. So please make sure that if you have any questions, you ask. But I will please, if you do have questions that are super technical, keep chatting on the chat, but Marina and I, we're gonna just answer in the end. So if you put any questions here and by the end, we ask you, now it's time for questions, copy and paste your question. Make sure that you send it again so it's make it easier for us to read the answers itself later on. So that can be quite helpful for us to keep track later when we are actually answering some questions. Cool. All right. I guess those are all my notes. Let's get this started. And time to time, I'm going to remind you guys to turn on the camera because I like to see everyone. So let's start with why we decided to go with this topic. We want to teach you not what are the best answers, what is the right or wrong way to answer interview questions. This is a place for you to learn a strategy that later on you're going to be able to create your own answer. So the intention here is that you can differentiate yourself from everyone else and not actually have a patronized answer that everyone can give the same because that's where you get the job. That's not the intention. We want to show what you do that it's completely different than anyone else. My name is Fernanda. I'm part of the VanHack team for a little while. If you have questions about best practice for interview, English code, English verification, mock interview, profile, networking, I'm your person. Sometimes you will like the answer, sometimes you might not like the answer. To be quite honest, pretty much all the questions are answered in the platform itself. So if we say for code challenge, you have 24 hours and then you're going to be able to retake in 3 months. That's true. We cannot change the rules, otherwise would be unfair with the other candidates. So sometimes you're going to say, oh, but I have an emergency, I had to leave and I couldn't complete the English verification. Okay, unfortunately, for the English verification, you have to wait a month. For the code challenge, you have to wait 3 months. We cannot be very flexible with the rules. We don't provide feedback. But if you have questions about how can I answer that better, is there a webinar on where you explain better about English verification, where you explain about code challenges, what are the ways to improve my profiles? Those are very good questions and we can help. If you have different questions, I still hope that you can share on Slack because we have a community of 4,000 people on our Slack. I guess it's now 17,000 people, and they can help you. Even if I can't, maybe someone else can. And now Marina is going to present herself. She's our guest today, and she's going to talk about technical interviews. So welcome, Marina.
Thanks, Faye. So, hi guys, my name is Marina. I'm a little bit nervous because this is my first time as a guest in a webinar. But just for you to know, I'm a web developer, more focused on JavaScript. I have 5+ years of experience My main stack is the main stack, but I also know other stacks, other languages, because as a developer, you need to know at least a little bit of everything. And I'm responsible for the technical interviews here at VanHack. My position is a new position. So my main job here, as I always tell my candidates, is to find the good stuff in your profile. So I'm not here to reject you, to be a bad person, to make you feel nervous. I'm here to find the gold inside your profile. And today I'm gonna share some tips on uh, how could you answer your questions in a better way. So yeah, this is me. Thanks for for inviting me, Faye.
Thank you for accepting. I would actually prefer that it was your dog picture, but okay, you are beautiful too.
I'm gonna call her.
She's adorable, guys. We in VanHack, when you join the company, if you have a pet, you have to pay taxes. You have to send us a picture from your pet,
I think it's a fair tax to pay.
right? It makes everyone happy.
Yeah.
Well, so I imagine that some of you feel exactly like this guy right now, completely confused, a lot of questions, is scared of how to organize your thoughts. So we're here today to make sure that if you do have an interview, if you are looking for a job, it gets less complicated. It gets easier. We are gonna always be talking about VanHack, but because it's a strategy, then you can implement and use for anything in your life. So let's minimize this confusion and all those questions and talk about most common interview questions. I'm going to just read very fast through them and then I'm going to explain block by block because they have some similarities that you can combine the strategies for answering. So tell me about yourself. How would you describe yourself? What makes you unique? What are your passions about? Can you tell me about a stressful work situation? Discuss a technical challenge you have faced. What is your greatest accomplishments? Why would we hire you? What are the goals for the future? Where do you see yourself in 5 years? I divided like the four first ones, the following three and the following three because they have similarities. The first block, they're looking to get to know you as you. So your personality, how you deal with things, what differentiates you as a person, as a future employee from other ones. Why you chose this career? Are you like your position? You like your job? You enjoy your industry? What have you brought you up to today, where you realize that this is what you want to do for the rest of your life? For 8 hours a week, 8 hours a day. I wish it was 8 hours a week. So on that note, there are a few things that they're keeping track on those questions. About body language, for example, I move my hands a lot. That it's not nice for interview. So when I'm doing interview, normally I like to sit on top of my hands to make sure that I'm not moving so much. Because I move so much my hands, I can use those backgrounds because then it's like I have a hand, I don't have a hand, and then it gets very confusing. Um, I always try to leave my camera and myself, like my image, in exactly in line with my camera. So even if I'm looking to myself, it feels like I'm looking to the camera. So right now I'm looking to myself, and right now I'm looking to the camera. So it's very narrow. But if I leave, for example, right now I'm gonna look to Marina. When I look to Marina, it feels like I'm not looking to the person. So I always try to combine my face with my camera. So it feels like I'm looking eye to eye, which is something that we do very easily in person interviews, but not as easy on virtual online, right? So, oops, um, let me put here. I have two screens, so now I'm gonna look away. You're gonna notice how weird is that. So most common mistakes is not to make eye contact, not having your knowledge about the company, not studying the company, not knowing what are the most interesting things that they have done. Do not smile. If you get so nervous and you cannot smile, mention that, because smiling is something that shows you are excited. And if you have a bad posture, if you're like this, or in nowadays, bad posture can be having your video like this, having your video like this, having not aligned with the height, then you're gonna have this part like very big and this part very small because you have your laptop on your in a lower desk. So always make sure that this is your new body language concern. Light. Today before we started, I came here, I tested the light. Today is super dark here, so I had to turn on all the lights that I have around to make sure that I have better light. But even though here is light, it's like darker than this side, but you can still see my facial expressions. Dress in a way that you want to show yourself. If this is a startup and it's very informal, cool. Go ahead, dress informal, it's all good. If it's a formal company, a bank, for example, dress a little bit more formal. You don't have to put tie or a very big jacket, but make sure to show exactly what you want them to understand about you. So dress and act as soon as you walk the door. So especially in Canada, handshake is not super strong, but a firm handshake is really important. The quality of your voice in person and online, and the words you choose to say. So when it comes to words, I want to emphasize be positive. Even if it's a very bad situation, bring the positive outcome. You did something horrible, let's say, like something that messed up with their production, with the code, you actually put the website out of air. But what you learn from that, bring the positivity. So that's what I mean. This is a survey that they have done a few years ago. So about it was about 2,000 hiring managers, and 33% of them claimed that they knew if that candidate was the right or if it was a positive candidate in only 90 seconds. It's a minute and a half. So if you want to do something, make sure those are your main concerns in the spot. You already studied for interview, you already prepared yourself. So now is the moment to show your body language. And on top of that, make sure that you adjust your answer for the specific role. So if you're applying for a role that's more managerial, bring managerial situations. If it's more about coding, give them more examples about your way to code, your way to act in group, what makes you unique. You go on that in that way. Inject some passion. So share why you like it, what gets you excited about it. Keep it positive, be succinct. You can go to like 2 minutes, 3 minutes, which is a longer answer because it's about you. But make sure that if you do, you keep them entertained. So change your tone of voice, don't read. So practice it a lot, but do not memorize it. Make sure that you give some good intentions and some suggestions and a little bit more about what actually happens. The second block of the most common interview questions is the block where you share your previous experience. So you share about situations, stressful situations, technical challenges, accomplishments. Those are all situations that you already experienced and that you're going to bring your expertise to your future company. For that, this is my favorite thing when it comes to interview strategies because you can use for literally everything. If you are like me, English as second language, if you don't speak English for since you were born, it can be very hard to express yourself in a way that anyone can understand. So you have to assume that you're talking to a child because you cannot make the same assumptions, like the same cultural assumptions. So for those of you who are Brazilian, if I say that, oh, I had to give a notice, I had to let my boss know that I quitted today and I had to wait a full month to start working in a different job because my boss asked me that he wanted me to give the notice, the exactly amount. If I just say I gave a notice and then I start working in a place, if you're from Brazil, you're going to assume that this is a month. If you're in Canada, you're going to assume that this is 2 weeks. If it's in US, it can be a week, it can be more, it's negotiable. So you don't want to leave space for assumptions because you don't know if that person will understand exactly what you mean or not. And this is the best way. You describe first your situation. What was the situation? You were quitting. So this is an event. This is a project. This is a challenge that you faced to quit a job. What was the task? Actually, stop working there. It's very similar on this case. What are the actions you took? You spoke to your boss, you wrote a letter of resignation, you shared the news with your coworkers, you had to work another 30 days, 2 weeks, 5 weeks. You had to support the new hiring person, you had to train this person, you have to help to select the new person. And what was the result? Was that a smooth transition? Was that a challenge transition? It was something that you actually, the person who started, were fully able to continue your job without any challenges. You can use that for anything. If it's a case on a stressful situation, it's the kind of answer that you can be super generic. So, how you deal with a stress situation? Oh, I go for a run because it gives me creativity. Is that an answer? Yes, it is. But what you got to know from that person? Literally nothing. So you have to have that balance between what you do for any stressful situation and the specific stressful situation that connects to that job. So if this is a developer job, oh, let me use my example because then I don't say anything that it's wrong. Let's assume VanHack is hiring me for to do exactly this webinar. This is a stressful situation. I don't know how many people will attend. I don't know if I'm gonna do send the right link. I don't know if the webinar will make sense for everyone. A lot of stress. Maybe for you it's not stressful because you are a natural public speaker. But for me, it's stressful. So what do I do to overcome that challenge? The situation is I'm going to be working with VanHack and I have to give several webinars, different topics, different tasks. I have to create new presentations. Very hard. What are the tasks? It's very hard for me because I get nervous. Now it's a little easier because I can just open Zoom, select my face, and pretend that I'm the only person in there and ignore everyone. So I'm already transitioning from the task to action. What are other actions that I can take? I do a power pose a minute before I start the webinar. I put makeup because I get more confident about it if I have makeup. I just woke up, guys. Here is 9 a.m. My face in a normal day is like this. But no, I woke up early, I washed my face, I brushed my hair, I put some makeup so I can pretend that I'm in a good mood, that this is not 9 a.m. in a very dark day. You can be friendly, like I just did, if you feel like the company has a friendly environment or more formal and just like, okay, I'm gonna. So, some actions that I do is actually that I rehearsal that many times over a week to make sure that I give the best presentation that I can. I join the Zoom link 10 minutes before to guarantee that my microphone, my lighting work better. You see, even my body language when I'm trying to be more formal changes. Less smile, but still eye catching, still intonation. And then you can give as many actions as you give. On action, especially immigrants, we tend to say, we. We did it, we worked, we created, we presented. As you see, Marina and I created this webinar. We did as a team. I want to emphasize that we did as a team. But the beginning, the part from HR interviews, it was only me. So you give the me. I did the piece. We did the webinar, but I did the part for the behavioral questions. So you always want the balance between we's and I's. And the result can be, and the webinar was great. And we have 56 people presenting from the first minute or throughout the presentation, an average of 56. Every time you have the chance to give quantities, here is where you do. I always recommend prepare at least 3 scenarios, like I just did. A scenario of asking to quit, a scenario of a webinar, and then you can have more options to answer questions throughout the way, because you remember at least a few project situations, events, challenges you faced, ready in your mind, and you don't have to think as much, because you are gonna always get off guard in some point in the interview, and then leave those most challenging ones for situations like that where you cannot predict it. Those are the predictable ones. Last block. Why should we hire you? What are your goals for the future? Where you see yourself in 5 years? They want to know, why are you here? Why you are different from everyone? Where you see yourself? Are you going to just come here, stay for a month and find a better job, a higher paying job, a manager job? You are going to move to another country and then you're going to realize you don't like Canada, you don't like Europe, you don't like German, you actually are not ready to deal with living in a country where you don't know the native language. For example, if you are hired for a company in Germany that it's inside the work is only English speaking, but outside you cannot communicate. Are you okay with that? Take advantage to use those questions and answer those concerns that you already know they're going to have. How you do that? Understand the company. Ask yourself, what are the most important qualifications you have for this position in that company? Know the job. Understand exactly what is expected from you for that job. If it's a developer, what developers do? Can you, you know, but it might be so natural for you that you don't even realize exactly what it is. It's just like, oh, we code. How you code? What you do? You have team meetings. So get to know the job. Think about what are the actions you take on a regular basis. Make sure that you show what differentiates you from another candidate. You are the type of person who is more quiet on a brainstorm meeting. You speak up. You need more time to think. You need less time. You jump in any opportunity because you get excited. How you work on that? What is your style for a job like that one, for a company like that one? And know yourself. It's kind of this combination that actually gives a good answer. Know what you have done in the past that is a most important accomplishment. Have you ever won a prize? Yes, I won a prize, but it was university, so I'm not going to say. No, go there. This is something that you achieved. How many people you faced on that webinar? How many people were in that hiring process? Have you ever attended any hackathon? How was that experience? Maybe we're not the winner, but you finished. This is an accomplishment. What else you have done? What else you enjoy doing that can help it out? And the combination of that is actually what has answered the questions. Why should I hire you? Why are you the right candidate for this role? Where do you will see yourself in 5 years? You know what they want, you know what you want, you know what this job will allow you. And like always, like I'm gonna ask you guys for real, and like any interviewer are gonna ask you, do you have any questions for me? By the end of the at the end of this presentation, we are going to ask you, Marina and I are going to ask, do you have any questions for me? Some people will, some people won't. But here you have an option. In an interview, you have to have questions. So it has to be a yes answer for that one. If you went through the interview and you already had a lot of contact, ask simple things. Ask about next steps. Is there anything else that I can provide you with that would be helpful from being hired? If you don't know something about the job, can you show me example of projects that I would be working on? About the company, what gets you most excited about the company future? Imagine if you ask the CEO, what you think that is going to be super excited for the future. The CEO are going to talk like half an hour about the team. Can you tell me about the team that I will be working? For example, I'm going to say something, but it's going to sound very biased because I have some coworkers here. But I honestly tell you, my team is the best team ever from all over the world. They're all funny. We all talk after hours. We now in the pandemic, half of us are in Brazil, half of us are in Canada. We still have happy hours. We text messages about webinars. If we see something, if we see a TV show, we want to share. Some of us are going to say, no, this is just not for me. Some of us are going to say, take a look because you cannot believe how beautiful the team is, how nice the TV show is. Or this is the kind of thing that if you ask me, if I'm hiring someone, I'm going to say, you know what? Even if you feel like this job is not the best salary, the best income, I still love so much the team that I don't know if I will ever leave. Unless we find a way to increase everyone's salary, then I'm going to stay here because the fun that I have, it's a lot more money than actually having more money. But let's assume that the person gives you an answer like, oh, the team is nice. Then something is going on in there. Then you can follow up on what is the most stressful situation you and your team faced. I love you too, guys. Then you can follow up and try to understand why is nice and not great. Is it because that person is not as happy with the position anymore? Is that because the team is not nice? This is the place that you are interviewing the company. So on that note, I'm going to now be the salesperson and tell you guys, you have literally all the tips and suggestions that you need to go there and start applying for jobs at VanHack. Some of you, and I want to know, I'm going to actually stop here and ask you guys a question. I want to know how many of you completed the English verification. So answer for me on your page. Have you done your English verification or haven't you? Or are you still waiting on the result? Oh, a lot of yeses. I'm liking that. Cool. Okay, while we wait a few extra seconds, I'm going to say yes. Carlos asked a question. Are there a few interview questions now because of the pandemic or because of the many unemployed? Does it make foreign high last chance? So I'm going to actually answer all of those because they were very good questions and it just caught my eye. Sorry if I missed a previous question. Okay, is there any interview questions about the pandemic? Yes. Are you able to work remotely? Have you ever worked in the past in a remote position? How you deal with working without an in-person team? Those are typical questions for the pandemic. Or because there are many unemployed people. People are aware that a lot of people were let go. If they have questions about why we're let go, give a positive scenario. Yes, I was. Unfortunately, the company was going through a rough time with the pandemic, but it was great because I was able to complete that certificate that I wanted so much, but I didn't have the time. You just switch from a bad thing to a good thing. Does this make Fahrenheit last chance? For some companies, yes. In my opinion, no, it actually gives you more opportunities Now you can work from anywhere. So they can take advantage of maybe giving you a lower salary than a local person. They can take advantage from having people from different time zones. You can take the advantage for there are everything, there is both sides. So I guess that kind of answers your question, but you have to think about the specific industry. If this is a bank and you have to be in person there because the system is local, then yes, it makes it harder for you. If it's a startup, they can actually take advantage of paying, offer you a lower salary than a local person. So it's actually giving you a higher chance. I'm going to share with you guys the results. So as you can see, 69% already completed, 39 haven't, a few are still waiting. Those who haven't complete your English verification, go there and complete today. Oh, but my English is not good. Complete today, take a look. Oh, but I haven't prepared myself. I don't know exactly what I'm going to say. Go there and take a look. You can always retake in 30 days. And from today to the next 30 days, you can already start applying. So this is really, really, really important. Go there and complete. For those who already completed, if you got fluent or advanced, great. If you haven't, go there and do it again. Now you have more information. Maybe you just read from a transcript and that lower your grade. Now you can do it fluently. Go there and retake it. Maybe you answer the discuss a technical challenge in a different way. Now you have the story strategy. You can change your answer and increase your grade. Every time we're gonna give you neither the same or higher. If anything happens that you get a lower grade, come to me. That was a mistake, and we are gonna readjust. And for those of you who already have fluent, have all the expertise, but haven't gone to your profile at VanHack and allowed it to make it public, I highly recommend you to go there. Because if you make public, the hiring partners, so the companies that are actually hiring through VanHack, they can see your first video. So they can get to know you by a video, by your intonation, by your face, by your how well you speak. So even if you have a basic English, maybe that basic English is enough for that position. If you have a basic English, but you have a strong resume, this might be your chance. It happens a lot. It's very rare, but you still increase your chance. I'm gonna open here very quickly our profile, and I'm already late. So sorry guys, it might be a few minutes late, but I wanna show you where. So you come on your login, you come on English assessment, English verification, and you click start. You have more instructions here. You allow your camera, you allow your microphone, and you can answer all those three questions that you talked about. You can come here. You always have 3 hours to complete, but most people take about 15 minutes. You completed that, you send for review, you come on your profile right here, click on your picture, click on profile, and you will allow people to see your intro videos. Then you come here and you mark this piece right here. That's it, guys. Now I'm gonna allow Marina to continue with the technical verification, and anytime you always can Slack or email me. We're gonna give our emails and Slack name on the end, by the end.
Okay, okay. So, following what Faye was saying about the importance of answering correctly the interview questions, and by correctly, I mean using a great format, I'm going to give a brief explanation about how to answer questions in a technical interview. But first, let's understand what is a technical interview about. So, I assume that most of you know a certain app called Tinder, right? Right. So an interview is almost the same. The difference that is that you are not trying to get a job when you are using Tinder. So let's start with a simple question as an example. Do you have experience with a language, a tool, or even dealing with some problem? Faye, next slide, please. So first things first, the employer wants to know your previous experience. With that, with what he asked about, using what Faye said, I'd suggest that you don't answer just yes or no, but try to explain better the situation when you used it, like the framework, the language, the technology, the tool, etc. You don't need to give a very deep explanation, but at least give some context. Next slide. Uh, Second, let's make the employer understand your technical knowledge. Now it's our time to shine. Why did you use that language? Or how you fixed the problem using this tool? This is the most important part of the answer, at least technically speaking. And this is when I will understand how deep you worked with something. You, not we. And last but not least, try to build your answer in a way that the employer understands that not only you have the technical knowledge, but that it will be useful to the company. For example, if you are having an interview with a cryptocurrency company, a bank company, an e-commerce company, try to focus your answers in security, in microservices. You got the point, right? So, and always, always, always expect for more questions. Maybe follow-up questions, maybe new questions with some relation with the previous one, but always be prepared. But Marina, how am I going to be prepared for my questions? I don't have a way to see the future. I wish I had. But I can tell you to think ahead of time. How the employer can dig deeper into your knowledge. He can ask about a problem that could have happened. And knowing that, you can find potential issues before he even asks you. And obviously, finding an issue is not enough. You need to offer solutions to these problems. And more than that, it's essential that you know what you do so you can explain in details why you did something and how it worked. You, again, not we, not the team, not the company. You. And how VanHack can help you with that. With me, no, just kidding, by having a technical interview. So by doing a technical interview with VanHack, you will gain more experience and will also receive a feedback about things you might need to improve. And by doing that, your profile will be more valuable because, like the English verification or the code challenge, this will add another layer of information for a potential employer. And it will also be easier to recommend your profile to some of our recruiters. And yeah, I think I explained it. Like I'm faster than Faye.
That's the perfect example of get to knowing yourself. I talk a lot. I need more time. Marina can be more concise, but still specific. So that's exactly the intention. This is getting to know yourself. So now, guys, is the time for questions. So shoot us some questions in the chat. Let us know how you feel. If there are a lot of questions like, I'm a developer with 3 years experience and I want a job, I'm gonna just skip it. This is an interview strategy webinar. Make interview questions, make questions about how to express yourself. If you have an example of store and you want to type and you want feedback, we still have 18 minutes here to help you out. So we are here for you. Let's see. Does the fact that I have a wife and daughter make it harder for me to get a job in Canada, for example? I don't think so, to be quite honest, especially because you said Canada. I live in Canada. I'm in Vancouver. Marina is in Ottawa. So I can give you an answer about experience and not about facts. And I can tell you, Canadian are looking for more people. So when it comes to the government itself, it's actually desirable. They want kids here. They want people to pay their taxes. They need taxes. They need immigrants. A lot of Canadians want to go abroad, so they want us to come in, come in. Talking about the point of a hiring manager, um, they are asking about your family is illegal here. So if they ask you how old is your daughter, you can say I don't feel comfortable with answering that. If it's a friendly environment and you say like, oh, I have a daughter too, how old is your daughter, maybe they can get along and you feel comfortable, you can say my daughter's true. And but if you feel that like that's a question that it should discriminate you from a role, say I don't feel comfortable with answering that. That's quite personal. um, Same for age, the same for marriage status, the same for anything. And to be quite honest, if you feel like in a friendly way you do want to answer in a way, for example, yes, to be honest, I'm gonna be it's for me it's gonna be a very easy to adapt to Canada because I'm gonna go with my wife and my daughter, so I'm not gonna feel like I don't have family around. I'm always gonna feel like I'm still home because they are my home. It's not the place that I live, it's them. You see, so like for example right now a great question that I use that for myself is that for to bring my family on, to bring my mother specifically, there are some rules for the Canadian government to accept. So when some people say why are you applying for a job that is lower from oh, I forgot to mention, guys, I'm an engineer. So if they ask why are you applying for a job as a career advisor and not an engineer, and sometimes, if it's formal, I just say because this is my passion. I miss people, engineering something that I like, but I don't see myself in that job anymore. If it's a more friendly place, I can say, for me, my happiness and the stability of being in a job that I enjoy is very important because I want to make sure that I achieve the amount that Canada asks every year to be able to bring my family to Canada. If it's even more friendly, to bring my mom, I want her to cook for me. So I can go and be flexible on answering questions and covering something that they might think that it can be a problem. You can answer before they even ask. What next question? Is the code challenge mandatory to start applying for jobs? I'm going to answer, but I'm going to ask another question for you, Marina. So the answer is it is not mandatory, it is optional. But how do you feel when someone has the challenge there, lower, higher, bad grade, good grade? How do you feel about that when you are doing your part of the interview?
I'm gonna say that if I think as a recruiter or as a company, if I have two profiles, one with the code challenge, one without it, like I think you have your answer. Like at least you know that the candidates try it, they taken a test, so it's not mandatory, but it's like I strongly recommend that you take the code challenges. And I think I have a question here that I can answer.
Cool.
So, what if an interviewer asks a technical question you don't really have an idea about? I think you need to feel how important is this question to the employer. But the only thing I can say to you is don't lie. Like, don't lie. Don't try to answer if you don't have any idea. The best way to act is to be honest and say, "I'm sorry, I don't know this question. I don't have an answer for you."
I want to take advantage of you being here because I received a question through Slack about exactly the situation. The person did not know. It was asking about a technical, something that you, a theoretical something. I'm going to use agile just because it's easy. The person asked, do you know what agile is? But agile you use on a daily basis, so it's not a good example. But let's assume this is something that you only saw on university and you don't remember, but you have an idea. Would be okay to open on Google. Like, could you like type on Google and see what agile is?
like when the candidates do this, but this is me because like I don't know how much it's the knowledge from the candidate and how much it's the candidate reading the answer. So I don't recommend doing this, but it's more of a personal opinion.
I love your answer because I feel the same, but you can always ask. We don't know what the other person is going to think. Just don't assume the no. Ask. You know
Yeah.
what? I don't remember. This is something that I only saw on the university. Would be okay if I open on Google and take a look and then refresh for a second and give you the answer. If the employee say no, it's a no. You get your answer. If it's a yes, you also get an answer. But don't lie. Don't pretend. Don't just like sneak it out or fake it. Say it. It might be a yes. It might be a no. So this can work for any questions, guys. Even if you, oh, what is a stressful situation? Um, I don't remember. Can you give me a second to think about it? And then have your second, think about it. But for this one, you guys are prepared. So use this for another one. On the technical interview, is it pretend to demonstrate knowledge, algorithmic or logic, and so on, or more a day-to-day task like architectural decisions and feature implementations?
Depends on the company. So, if you're doing an interview with, let's say, in a startup, it's a fast environment and you just need to work, 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 it's preferred to have more hands-on experience. But if the position asks for, let's say, architecture, algorithms, so it's nice to have some knowledge about, but it all depends on the job description or what the company do. Like for this question, I think you need to study about the company itself. Like I don't have ready answers for everyone about this.
Cool.
So the answer is study the company.
That's a great answer. It works for almost all the questions. The technical interview at Canada are more verbal or has live code?
mm, I've seen both cases. Like if I would give you a generic answer, I would say that they have the behavioral interview, the technical interview, and sometimes they have a take home test or a whiteboard. Uh, from my own experience, I just had no, I had both. I had technical interviews and whiteboard challenges.
So another way to research about that is through Glassdoor. Sometimes people add there how the hiring process works. If it's through VanHack, ask the hiring, contact the recruiter, the VanHack recruiter. They might have a specific answer for that. Um, and yeah, but it's hard to say. It changes a lot. Even within the same company, can change. How long usually does it take to land in Canada after a successful interview for Iranian developers? And should I apply via express entry or another extreme? So I'm gonna answer only through VanHack because it's how I know. So by express entry, I guess Facebook helped me a lot. So you can ask exactly the same question on Facebook on a Canadian immigrants Facebook page. If there is another stream, I know that I live in BC, so I know that in BC we have BC Tech Pilot, and sometimes it's easier, but normally I think they prefer people who are here. So I honestly don't know about immigration. I just have my experience. But from the moment that you get your position to the moment you arrive in Canada, we have a team that supports you through the way. So we help you with visa, we help you with the settling, with getting information from the town you're gonna live, um, cultural differences. Right now, the how long part, it's hard to say. We have a lot of people coming in. So if you follow us on LinkedIn, you can see there that we regularly post people that are coming. but there is not a timeline in there. You want to add anything? No? Cool. Excellent answer for the family questions. Thank you. What are the wanted skills and performance criteria for managerial roles?
I don't know how to answer this.
I'm going to just brainstorm here with you guys. Managerial roles, be a leader. So this is
Yeah.
a skill. Performance criteria, I would say like how many people you led, how many people you had an impact. Um, think about situations again. So let's say it was a team building situation. Think about the star, and that can maybe give you some answers in that line. What I can share is that most of the positions that they are willing to bring people from abroad, they're not very managerial because it has a really big impact when it comes to cultural. So, for example, here in Canada, we have a more flat environment where I can just Slack my CEO and give him a recommendation. My boss expect me to have leadership abilities and ask people. So, for example, I asked Marina to be our guest today, and I haven't to ask my boss to go to her boss and get his approval, then her approval, and then get back to me. I could go straight away to her. And then we leveled up and said like to our bosses. So is it okay? Is it okay? Yes, yes. Then we moved on. So those cultural pieces only comes with being here. So they sometimes are fearful with giving right away. But we have a lot of cases of people who moved here and in a very short period just like skyrocket and became like a very high level manager. um, we how to answer the question, where would you like to be in the next 5 years? If you know what you like, if you know what is expected for the position for the following 5 years, for the following year, and if you understand the company, this will be an easy answer. For example, I'm going to give you my answer for VanHack. I will start with something that you guys are going to think that it's crazy, but it is true, and the hiring person will agree. 5 years is actually too long. I cannot say my plan for 5 years if last year we had a pandemic and we don't know where the world is going. So I'm going to actually give you an answer for the next year. I see myself hosting weekly webinars. I see myself helping more and more to increase the number of women getting hired. I see myself taking a leadership role and maybe supporting my team members, but in the future, maybe having someone to help me out to have a bigger impact in the company. I really appreciate this position because I have a very strong passion about women empowerment, and I know that I can do that in this role. And this is something that I hope that I can go deeper and deeper. Done. I cannot say 5 years. This is a startup. In 5 years, maybe we are even bigger. And then how can I answer that? And I don't want to lose the opportunity by saying I see myself as a VP because I'm very bright and I move very fast and I'm super qualified, because maybe they cannot have this position. So you have to find a balance. Um, if you get rejected, would you consider a good practice to request feedback? Yes, but it's
Yes.
very rare that people gives you feedback. That's the reason Marina is here. She can give you feedback. The company will say, we're busy. You are just not the right candidate. Sorry, someone else was a better match. But Marina can be more specific. So if you get Marina's email, go there and book your time with her.
Don't ignore me, please.
Ah, anything else that you consider best practice after a technical interview?
I'd say that Well, take the feedback into consideration. You don't need to answer me saying that, okay, I will study, etc., like a generic answer. But for you as a candidate, take into consideration the feedback and study what I asked you about, and try to correlate the questions I asked you with the more behavioral questions, because this is also important. In my interview, I try to be really technical, but it's good to see if the candidate is like studying the behavioral questions as well, because it's easier for me to understand you. So this would be my biggest advice for you. So study the feedback, study the company. Like it's a technical interview, but it's almost the same process for you to answer questions as you were answering questions in a behavioral interview.
Got it. So prepare so you can take more advantage. And I like the idea, something that I learned here in Canada, but I think that it would work all over the place. And I wish everyone do that, is just to send an email and thanking the person for their time. Through email, through LinkedIn, then maybe you can get a new connection. But I guess thanking the person for their time and making some comment about something specific that happened. If it was about the situation of having a kid, maybe you can say, thank you so much for your time. I thought it was really thoughtful of you to mention your daughter so I could feel more comfortable with taking this role. If it's something about a award or something that the CEO was super excited, thank you for your time. I'm really excited that you see this company moving in X direction. So it doesn't have to be long. It can be very short and concise, but thank them and make it personal. I think that's a good one too. Normally, the first step from a company is a call from them. How to deal with this when, for example, you are not prepared or waiting for that. I ask you guys. I'm gonna brainstorm here just because we are over time now, but I want you guys to stop a second and see. Okay, this is a horrible situation. It happens to everyone. You get a call out of the blue and you don't know exactly how to proceed. Get a paper and say, what if I receive a call right now from a company? I don't know about the company. I don't know who is that. I'm so nervous that I cannot even remember what English is. I don't know what to say. I'm very nervous. What would I do if that happens right now? First option, I would hang up in the face of the hiring manager. No. Are you from the are you from VanHack? Yes. Bah. I don't want to talk to you. I'm so nervous. You just hang up. You would see a different number. You don't know who it is. You're going to leave to go to voicemail. You can answer and say you are busy and ask to call back. You can, what are the options you have? And then with maybe three or more options, you select which one aligns better for you. For example, if it's a call from a different number, but you have applied for a lot of jobs from VanHack, if you don't answer, they might just go for another person. We only have 48 hours to reply the companies. So if you hang up and you say, I'm not going to answer right now, it might be the case that they select someone else. If you leave to go to voicemail and the person doesn't express what is it about, it might not work as well. If you just say, I'm busy, can I talk to you in a few seconds when I'm in a more quiet place? Then it's a different option. Then try to understand the many scenarios that can happen and choose one. I guess that's the best way to proceed for anything. Something horrible will happen. Someone did a follow-up question about your project that you have no idea on how to answer. You just say, sorry, I don't remember. As soon as the interview is done, you go there, you get a piece of paper, you get your notes, you get your WhatsApp group, me, myself, and I, and you start writing, brainstorming. How would I have answered that now that I know that this question is a possibility? Um, those an accountant with an interest in data science, though with no experience, tangible knowledge in the same, has an opportunity to run hack. Right now, we have mostly senior level positions. And for you, you're going to be a junior for the data science, although you have this interest or know a little more. So my suggestion is yes, join VanHack, have your English verification, have your technical knowledge if you can assess a technical code challenge, and take advantage of the Slack channel to ask, how can I gain more experience in data science on my own? So this can increase, so you can increase your knowledge maybe in your home country, and then when you get to a level that you feel a lot safe with that, you can move abroad and get a certain level of knowledge to be considered. It is considered, but they are investing a lot on bringing the candidate, on hiring, on training. So it's gonna be harder for you. I that's
Yeah,
right.
we are talking about relocation, so there's a lot of money and time involved in this process. So it's harder for more junior developers or candidates. But don't use VanHack only as a job platform. VanHack has lots of resources for you to improve your English, your technical experience. We have webinars.
That's true. You can use in a different way than hack. Will Van Hack help us with technical knowledge and clear the interview? We won't help you with technical knowledge. We are not here to teach you. So let's say you got zero on a code challenge and you want to know what you did wrong so you can improve. That's not where we jump in. We are helping you to get hired. So we are going to prepare you for interviews in webinars like this. We're going to prepare you with English through Premium Academy. We are going to help you with technical interviews, with Marina, and with mock interviews. But we are not going to help you to be a better developer, a better QA. We are going to just help you to showcase the skills you already have. How frequent will I get an interview through VanHack? Okay, I'm going to just stop here and then I continue to read. I have no idea. No one can give you that answer. I don't know how many companies need a position in your role. I don't know how many companies need an experience that you already have. So it can be zero, it can be 100, it can be not for a year, but when it opens, you are the first one because you're the only one with that experience. So I'm going to use here an example with gamers. Do we have positions with gamers? Very, very rarely. But we also have fewer candidates as gamers. So if it opens up, if a company calls us and say, hey, VanHack, we want a gamer, we want someone with this experience, you are probably one of the few ones who have English verification and a very good profile and is prepared for an interview. So you actually can use that as in your advantage. But if you're in a rush, then maybe you have to look somewhere else and not just wait. Remember that we are here to help you connect with the companies. We're not here to hire you. We are not here to teach you. We are here to make sure that you and the company connect in an easy way. For example, let's say, how many interviews will I get in this week? Have you done English verification? If not, zero. Had you applied for positions with a strong profile? If not, zero. If you have a good profile, you have English verification, you have code challenge 100, like you have the grade of the code challenge as 100. You have a very, very strong profile with a lot of star that it shows who you are. It can still be zero. We are not here to make sure that you have interview. We are here to make sure that the companies get candidates that qualify with their personality, intention, style, experience, expertise. If you want to improve your chances own an interview, we also have the Premium Academy. I'm trying to move to Canada as a software engineer and a master of software. I have IELTS. What are my chances to get a job in Canada and get a sponsor visa points? I'm gonna, just like I said, I'm gonna keep very specific questions. So I'm gonna just answer the end. What are my chances to get a job or getting some visa sponsors? With VanHack, we support you. As soon as the company says, this person is our person, we're gonna hire you, we are gonna help you with getting a work visa. And after that, with anything else, if you wanna continue in Canada, you're gonna have to do on your own. But until you get the work visa, we're going to help you. And all those positions that we have, if they are in person, if they are relocation positions, we will help you, and those companies are eligible for sponsor visas. I just completed a software developer program, junior position. Again, super specific. I'm going to skip this one. Um, does VanHack have a plan to add the program for developers to add new skill for candidates helping about the career path, or completely out of the scope? We always are looking for opportunities to grow and to improve and to increase our reach. So I hope so, but right now, no plans. We have a lot to improve and to be experts in what we are already doing. And so I don't know. But again, go on Slack and ask, where can I have a career coach that can help me create my career path? Who works in X industry and can help me out to create my career path? Does anyone have 5 minutes to speak over the phone, and then we can see talk about a better program to learn a specific skill? Go there and take advantage of our Slack channel. You're welcome, guys. I think we cover all the questions. Sorry for being late. I'm happy that we managed to be with a lot of you today. I know that a lot of you could be doing anything else and you are investing in your career. So this says a lot about who you are and what are your goals. And I'm sorry that we skip time. This is something that Canada is not nice. It's very almost sounding like rude because we're not being we are not being mindful of people who has other commitments. But in this case, I'm still Brazilian, so I thought that would be nicer to answer many questions. And if you could stay, great. If not, you can always come back to the recording. We're going to send an email tomorrow or the day after. Thank you for being here. We have one more question. I'm going to be super specific, and then I'm going to pass it over to Marina. The contact from the companies are usually over the phone calls or instead of emails. It depends on the situation, how fast we need, how in a hurry we are. But if you apply straight to companies, normally it's first a phone call. If it's through VanHack, you can have an email first. So Marina, thank you so much for being here. I know it's not an easy task to be vulnerable and say something and maybe be willing to say something wrong or some that saying I don't know and so on. So thank you for being here. We really appreciate.
Thanks, Faith. My pleasure. And yeah, it was hard at the beginning, but that's okay. I feel more comfortable now. But I'm a really shy person. Yeah, but guys, please take into consideration the content of this webinar. This is gold. This is gold for you. This will really help you to get a job abroad, to improve your answers, to improve your skills. Thank you so much for your time. And as Fê said, we passed a little bit on the time, but I'm still Brazilian as well as Fernanda. And yeah, that's it. Thank you guys. Thanks, Faye, again.
Have a great day, everyone. Bye bye.
Bye.